Now, did you also have a responsibility for the Alpha Sigma House?
Alpha Sigma House,
1327 Mars Street?
Oh, yes. I was down there trying to keep those young birds straight, like Eric here and several others. But they were good.
But you also were the rent collector.
Alpha
Sigma House.
Alpha Sigma House, yes.
And when you came down to collect rent, you meant business, and the brothers that lived there knew that.
Knew that. Yes, they did.
Somehow I suspect that that's when they will start talking about brotherhood.
That's what it is. We never had problems. When you were collecting rent, we never had problems with brothers paying on time.
No, but one guy, and that's it. Was it the big fat guy?
Oh yeah.
He
Tansel,
yeah.
Not Herbert Tansel, but the other Tansel.
Yeah.
The Alpha Sigma chapter, has a rich history. When I was in Richmond yesterday, they were talking about all the brothers who came out of the Lambda chapter into Outer Sigma chapter, and they were taking pride in the fact that Outer Sigma chapter, I think, has had 9 DSC members over time and 2 presidents. I remember when I came to Alpha Sigma chapter, there were some real giants in that chapter. B. Doll Mitchell.
B. Doll Mitchell, yeah.
Who's the son-in-law of Jesse Lewis.
That's right.
Who founded the Industrial Bank of Washington.
That's correct.
And as a mark of black business, long before it was a popular concept, when I was the executive director, I made sure all of our accounts were housed at the Industrial Bank of Washington.
That's correct.
And Charlie Moore, of course, in Atlanta, did the same thing with Citizen Trust.
Absolutely.
So we've practiced bigger and better business as Jesse Lewis outlined for us, years and years ago.
Yes.
Now, I don't know off the top of my head, do you know anybody else in the Alpha Sigma chapter who has been made DSC?
Lucius Young, Colonel Lucius
Young.
Made DSC as well. There were
Jesse Lewis.
Jesse Lewis.
He was number 1, right?
He was number 1 was A. Langston Taylor.
Langston Taylor.
Okay, all right.
That was number 1, and that was out of Alpha Sigma chapters.
Okay, so A. Langston Taylor, Jesse Lewis, Eric Gilliam, Lucius Young, Tom Washington.
We've had a couple of attorneys that back in the 40s and 50s that came through the DSC. I can't recall their names.
Yeah, don't ask me.
Yeah, I understand. That's okay. Yeah.
So
I think all together, I know there are about 12 persons from Alpha Sigma chapter.
Okay, well that's what I wanted to hear. Then that's 3 more than Outer Sigma.
There were 12. There were 12 altogether. And every time we have an intake process, one of the things that the intake team needs to know is all those persons coming through Alpha Sigma that were DSC members.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
And of course, the Alpha Sigma chapter is the oldest graduate chapter in the fraternity.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That's correct.
That's correct, yeah.
Brother Washington, what would you say to those persons who are new Sigmas and who, when faced with challenges after maybe a year or two, say that it's too much work, it's too hard? I was talking to a young man the other day and said he was worn out. He'd been a Sigma for 2 years. 2 years.
Shoot.
What word of wisdom would you have?
I guess he'd go out and shoot himself if he heard I did. This hang in there, because we need younger brothers coming in, to take over from the older brothers. And I talk to the young brothers all the time. And in fact, I'm very proud of Eric Gilliam. He came in under me. Hutch, I don't know what that boy is doing.
He's doing good. Hutch was doing. He came in 1962.
Well, but he came in under me. Hutch and Gilliam were my 2 main people that and you, Gerald. I can't forget you, Gerald, because but Gerald had all them women.
Well, since we're on videotape, we won't talk about those women right now.
We'll move on to
fix it.
Eric's DSC stock takes was very difficult to write because Eric doesn't write anything down about himself. He just,
That's right.
He does service and just does service. There are some members of Phi Beta Sigma who will go unnamed, who if you ask them, what have you done, they start pulling out books, albums of them standing next to famous people. They can't tell you they ever did anything with those famous people, but they do have pictures standing with them.
Yeah.
Your life has been one dedicated to service.
I did it. I love the Phi Beta Sigma, and I would do anything for Phi Beta Sigma.
Brother Washington, can you tell me, let's talk about the story one day. You remember Brother Isaac Rowland?
Yeah,
Can you tell the story about collecting the rent one day? Do you remember that story? And Brother Rowland and one of the guys got into a scuffle.
Oh yeah. Well, I was. It doesn't come to me right now.
But
I remember the scuffle. Yes,
yeah, I recall, and they were on the floor. They were tossing
they were tossing and turning.
And you walked up to them, and you said some words that I dare not to repeat right now.
Were they holy words, brother?
Yes, they were very.
But I dare not repeat those words.
And everything stopped.
They stopped just like that.
Just like that.
You spoke, you know.
Ike Rowland, for those who are not familiar with the name, was Tommy's partner, who came along, I guess probably midway toward the end of the time that you were working with the building,
Right.
Particularly around 1989. And Ike was also very instrumental in helping us plan the 75th anniversary.
Right.
He did double duty there. Brother Washington, we decided to come by today to memorialize your voice and your appearance, because as time goes on, brothers years from now will read in the Sigma Light, in the history, that, you know, there was a DSC member named Tommy Washington, and I wanted there to be a record that they could associate that he was a person whose total life was given to service. Service through not only Phi Beta Sigma, but Alpha Phi Omega National Service Fraternity. You know, they have girls in there now. It's a co-educational.
Yeah, I heard about it.
That's a good thing, ain't it?
After I left.
Now, I probably better correct this for the tape, because Colonel Young will probably rise up and get me. He never liked you to say Alpha Phi Omega.
No.
APO.
APO. Yeah.
And then long service to your church.
Yes.
And just stellar service to your fraternity at every level.
Right.
You know, and you know, as one member of Phi Beta Sigma, if nobody else ever tells you, you know, I'm deeply appreciative of all those days, you know, that you got out of your bed and came to the headquarters to make sure we would still have a place.
That's right, because those boys, those young brothers, they were doing it, and those people across the street was just up in the air about it all the time. Eric can tell you that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I'd come over there and they shut the hell up right away.
That's right.
Because I didn't allow that.
Right.
Well, certain people, their demeanor is both firm and calming. There's certain folks that you know not to mess with, and you apparently one of those.
Yes,